6 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Daman Zaman. The headlines. The caretaker Prime Minister has emphasized on the need to further rationalize and liberalize the visa policy to attract investments. Anwarul Haqqaqar has expressed Pakistan's unwavering resolve in the fight against terrorism. Pakistan has categorically rejected the verdict announced by the Indian Supreme Court on the disputed status of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Kashmiris have unanimously rejected the Indian Supreme Court's verdict of validating the illegal act of revoking the special status of the occupied Jammu and Kashmir. At least 23 Palestinians were martyred in the continued barbaric Israeli airstrikes on Al-Maghazi refugee camp in Gaza today. Pakistan will take on Spain in the quarterfinals of the Junior Hockey World Cup in Malaysia tomorrow. Details after a break.
आज़मीन हज मुतवज्जा हों। सरकारी हज स्कीम की दरख्वास्तें 12 दिसंबर तक मुल्क के 15 नामजद बैंकों में जमा कराई जा सकती हैं। समंदर पार पाकिस्तानी स्पॉन्सरशिप स्कीम के तहत खुद को और पाकिस्तान में मौजूद अपने प्यारों को स्पॉन्सर कर सकते हैं। स्पॉन्सरशिप स्कीम के तहत मौसूल होने वाली हज दरख्वास्तें पहले आइए पहले पाइए की बुनियाद पर वसूल की जाएंगी। मजीद मालूमात के लिए नामजद बैंक या वजारत की वेबसाइट www.hajinfo.org विजिट करें।
Welcome back, and now the news in detail. The caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haqqaqar launched new visa regime in Islamabad today to attract foreign investors. Speaking on the occasion, the Prime Minister emphasized the need to further rationalize and liberalize the visa policy. He noted that until and unless we do not open up to the world, it will be challenging to attract investments and develop trade and economic relationship. The Prime Minister said liberal visa regime is the cornerstone of the economic relationship. He expressed the confidence that the Interior Ministry will come up with more suggestions to further improve the visa policy. The caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haqqaqar has expressed Pakistan's unwavering resolve in the fight against terrorism. Interacting with the families of the martyrs during his visit to the Interior Ministry in Islamabad today, he emphatically stated that we will not surrender in front of the violent individuals and groups. He said if these groups want to surrender, then they have to do so without any condition and also seek an apology from the families of the martyrs. He said there is no interest on our part to engage with the violent groups. The Prime Minister said the government will fulfill its constitutional responsibility to ensure protection of the country's population. Anwarul Haqqaqar said the nation will remain indebted to the martyrs and their families. Paying tributes to them, he said each segment of the society has rendered its blood in the war on terrorism. He said these martyrs and their families are our heroes, assuring they will always remain in our memories. The caretaker Interior Minister Sarfaraz Ahmed Bukhti has reaffirmed Pakistan's firm commitment to stamp out the scourge of terrorism from the country. Addressing an event at the police lines in Islamabad today, he emphasized that we have to fight this menace collectively and with consistency, asserting Pakistan will emerge victorious in this war. Alluding to the conspiracies hatched against the country ever since its creation, the Interior Minister highlighted the unparalleled sacrifices made by the security forces to foil these plots. The chairman, Pakistan People's Party, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, has complimented the establishment of the Wall of Martyrs at the Interior Ministry in Islamabad to pay homage to those sons and daughters of the soil who laid down their lives in the war against terrorism. Addressing a news conference in Islamabad this afternoon, he said it is a good initiative to acknowledge and commend sacrifices of politicians, lawyers, judges, and military and police personnel for successfully eradicating terrorism from Pakistan. Pakistan has categorically rejected the judgment announced by the Supreme Court of India on the disputed status of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Addressing a news conference in Islamabad this afternoon, the caretaker Foreign Minister Jalil Abbas Jilani said the judicial endorsement of India's unilateral and illegal action of 5th August 2019 is a travesty of justice based on distorted historical and legal arguments. He said India's plans to annex Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir are bound to fail. The foreign minister said the Indian Supreme Court's verdict fails to cater to the aspirations of the Kashmiri people, who have already rejected India's illegal and unilateral actions of 5th August 2019. He said Pakistan will continue to extend its political, diplomatic, and moral support to the people of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir till the realization of their inalienable right to self-determination. The foreign minister said final disposition of Jammu and Kashmir is to be made in accordance with the relevant Security Council resolutions and as per the aspirations of the Kashmiri people. The minister said Pakistan does not acknowledge the supremacy of the Indian Constitution over Jammu and Kashmir. Any process subservient to the Indian Constitution carries no legal significance. Kashmiris from across the political spectrum have unanimously rejected the Indian Supreme Court's verdict validating the Modi government's illegal act of revoking the special status of occupied Jammu and Kashmir. According to Kashmir Media Service, the All Parties Hurriyat Conference spokesman, in a statement issued in Srinagar, said the Indian government and its judiciary have no right to decide the legal status of the internationally recognized disputed Jammu and Kashmir. People's Democratic Party President Mahbooba Mufti, in a message on social platform X, made it clear that people of Jammu and Kashmir would not surrender their struggle for the restoration of their honor and dignity. National Conference Vice President Umar Abdullah said he was disappointed by the verdict and added that the struggle for their basic rights would continue. Earlier, curfew-like restrictions were imposed by the occupation regime across the occupied territory to prevent protests against the anticipated verdict of the Indian Supreme Court. This is Radio Pakistan. The caretaker Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Murtaza Solanki, has emphasized on the active role of women in the electoral process. Addressing an event on women participation in politics in Islamabad today, he pointed out that women make half of our population and empowering them is a sacred duty. He said the first female Prime Minister in the Muslim world was from Pakistan. The Punjab Cabinet has given approval of amendments to the Motor Vehicle Rules 1969 to legalize motorcycle rickshaw as a three-wheeler. The Cabinet meeting, chaired by the caretaker Punjab Chief Minister Mohsin Naqvi in Lahore today, also gave approval to Dera Ghazi Khan Cardiology Institute as a medical institution under the Punjab Medical and Health Institutions Act 2003. At least 23 Palestinians were martyred in the continued barbaric Israeli airstrikes on Al-Maghazi refugee camp in Gaza today. The martyrdom toll of Palestinians in the Israeli attacks in Gaza Strip has risen to over 18,000 since October 7. The Health Ministry in Gaza said there are 50,000 people injured in Gaza so far. A dozen of United Nations Security Council envoys will visit the border between Egypt and the Gaza Strip today. The visit has been arranged by the United Arab Emirates. UAE United Nations Ambassador Lana Nusebe said the aim of the visit is to learn firsthand what is needed in terms of a humanitarian operation to meet the needs of the Palestinian people in Gaza. Tomorrow is the last day of receiving applications for next year's Hajj. The designated bank branches are accepting applications for the purpose. Hockey. In the quarterfinals of the 2023 Federation of International Hockey Junior World Cup, Pakistan will face Spain in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia tomorrow. And finally, the weather report. Mainly cold and dry weather is expected in most plain areas of the country, while partly cloudy conditions are likely in the upper parts during the next 12 hours. Fog and smog is likely to persist in the plain areas of the Punjab, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and Upper Sindh during night hours. And that is the end of this news bulletin. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk, and you can also watch the live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official